We're taught from an early age, if there's an emergency, call 911. Today, we're speaking with the Chief Dispatcher from our Fire Communications Center to learn about the kinds of emergency calls we receive, what it takes to become a dispatcher, and how our call takers remain calm while callers are in a crisis. We're also talking about home fire safety. We'll cover the basics to help ensure you're doing everything you can to prevent fires in your home. That's coming up on this episode of Freedom from Fire. Hello, and welcome to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, firefighter Camila Bayete-Taylor. I'm currently stationed in our department's Fire Prevention and Code Division. Here at Freedom from Fire, we aim to improve your quality of living by giving you fire and life safety information. We also introduce you to our local safety partners and department leaders. Later in the show, we're talking about home fire safety and how to make sure everyone knows what to do if a fire breaks out at home. But first, we're talking about 911. The Philadelphia Fire Department receives close to 1,000 calls a day, the vast majority of which are emergency medical services or EMS calls. Dispatchers and call takers are often called the first responders because they're typically the first point of contact when someone calls 911 for help. Joining me today is Chief Fire Dispatcher Angel Rodriguez. Angel, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so how long have you been with the PFD as a chief dispatcher?
I've been there, I'm in my 6th year as the chief dispatcher, 27th year with the fire department in the communication center.
Okay, well, that's a lot of time. Thank you so much for your service. All right, now, can you describe your role as a chief dispatcher?
Yeah, so my role as chief dispatcher is making sure that I'm in charge of operations, everything from staffing to quality assurance, training, the reliability of our systems. So I pretty much manage the operation of it all.
Okay. Now, what other jobs are there in the Fire Communications Center, or the FCC as we call it?
There's several positions, several roles. When start out as a trainee, you can move up to dispatcher. But we also have the supervisors who manage the entire operations and support the call takers and dispatchers in live events. We also have the behind the scenes support, quality assurance supervisors, training supervisors. We manage the portable radio system. And so there's a variety of roles. We work with planning to do the races, the concerts throughout the parkways and stuff like that. So while we're all just kind of dispatchers, but there's several things in our realm that we can do.
Okay. Now, you mentioned one of the roles being as a trainee. Can you describe a little bit more about what a trainee is and what they're responsible for?
So as a trainee, you could be a trainee for a full year, but that's once you get hired, we put you in our training program, which is about 12 weeks.
Okay.
It's 12 weeks. 12 weeks classroom, and then there's hands-on training up to 4 weeks.
Wow.
During that time, we go through the classroom training. What we do is go over our systems, our protocols, SOPs. How do we dispatch? How are we going to call? How are we going to, answer those calls? All of our certifications. And once we graduate from there, we go to the hands-on training where we have you shadowed with a senior person who now make sure that you can do the hands-on. You start taking phone calls, you start actually dispatching assignments, all while under the supervision of a senior person until we say, all right, now this person is ready to be let loose on their own.
Okay, and you mentioned something about SOPs being standard operating procedures.
Right.
All right, now, as mentioned earlier, the fire department receives close to 1,000 calls a day, right? So our dispatchers are busy. Talk about the call volume and how you manage it.
So last year we had over 400,000 911 calls, about close to 60,000 were for fire, over 300,000 were for EMS alone. And, that's about 1,100 calls every day per person. And these, our dispatchers don't get a whole lot of downtime. It's constant. It comes in waves. We have the morning rush, afternoon rush, weekends, overnights, and stuff like that. But we try and manage it as best we can. We try and keep everyone staffed, try and keep everyone comfortable. The dispatchers are good at managing the calls. It's not every one dispatcher getting every single call. We have a queue system. So if you're the last call taker to get a call, it'll go to someone else next.
Okay.
And we manage the volume with them by rotating them on the dispatch floor. So you may get 6 hours it's a 12-hour shift, so you may get 6 hours on the call taken, and we try and switch you to the dispatch side to give you a little break.
Okay.
EMS and the dispatch side, that's constant. It's constant, it never ends, so sometimes they may need a break from there. Phones are never ending too, but you get a little gaps of, a few seconds where you may be able to get a break as opposed to the dispatch side.
Okay.
So we try and make everything comfortable for everybody. We try and manage the volume with the staffing that we have as best we can, and try and make sure that we provide the dispatchers with the resources and support they need.
Okay, all right. Now, some people might not realize about 911 calls that all those calls are routed through the police radio side before coming to the FCC. What kinds of calls do we receive? You talked about EMS, you talked about fire. Could you get a little more specific with those types of calls, how they break down?
Right, so when someone calls 911, they're going to get police radio. And once they determine that this is a fire EMS call, they immediately transfer that to the fire side.
Okay.
Our call takers take that call with the police operator on the line in case we need police to respond with us. So they always remain on the line, but then the call is now ours.
Okay.
And we proceed with our interrogation. And, with EMS, it goes from everything from breathing difficulty, cardiac events, traumas, it could be shooting, stabbing, accidents. And then the fire side, a lot of people see the house fires, car fires, but we also go for investigation for unusual odors. Water main breaks, we respond and make sure the flooding isn't endangering civilians. Alarm systems, stuck elevators, people may not realize we do that. So we have a broad range of incidents that we go to.
Sure.
We literally almost respond to everything.
Okay.
And if you have an emergency, we're more than likely we're gonna come.
Right,
So.
yeah, and sometimes you may possibly get a call. I mean, I know on the responding side, we get a call that may not seem like an emergency or may seem, and it really is an emergency.
Yeah, and some people don't realize how they think, oh, well, I don't want to bother them because I don't see any smoke from the fire alarm. It's always going off.
Right.
But that one time you just never know. So, it's better to call.
Yeah, and on our side, when we're responding, it's like you treat every call, you treat every run like it's an emergency.
Yes.
Because you never know what you're walking into. So can you walk us through, you talked a little bit about dispatchers, call takers, and routing calls and things like that, but can you walk us through a dispatcher's role and what that process looks like when someone calls 911?
So when someone does call 911, like I said, they go through police and they transfer it to us. Now our caller takes that call, and what we use is a priority dispatch system. We use EMD software, emergency medical dispatch software, through priority dispatch, which is recognized throughout the country as a protocol system that helps us prioritize our EMS calls and now our fire calls as well. So once we get that call and once we get an address, callback number, what's your complaint, we get the main things. That system helps us determine, based off of the caller's answer, how we're going to prioritize that. Is this going to be an ALS response, a BLS response? So we get through that call, and every call is different. We have callers calling at the worst time of their life. So every call has to be handled separately. You can't get ruffled from one call and then jump to the next one ruffled. So, that's one of the big things. So once they get that call, determine what that priority is, what's wrong, whether it's fire, EMS, that system prioritizes and allows us to pick what we're going to. So if it's an ALS cardiac event, we're going to pick that ALS response. It's going to go to the dispatch, but we're still going to talk to you.
Right.
So then that's another thing everyone needs to understand is we're talking to you on the phone, but that job might be going already. You know, we're just going to sit here and give you a pre-arrival instructions, help you until the responders get on scene. And then once that shoots over there, dispatch, it's immediate. We don't hold calls. We don't hold any ALS calls or anything like that. Everything is high priority. So once it goes right from call taker right to dispatch, to when you guys respond.
Okay. Now, can you explain for those who may not be familiar the difference between an ALS call and a BLS call?
Right. So ALS is a higher priority call. So we have different priority calls. We have a code blue, not breathing, some type of cardiac event, unresponsive. ALS calls are typically the chest pains, difficulty breathing, some abdominal pain. It all depends on what the caller is saying.
Sure.
A BLS calls is a little lower priority. You know, you may sprain your ankle, you know, depending on where you break your leg, a fall, you know, something like that. And then we do have BLS code responses, which is the very lowest priority where it may be someone that injured their ankle but is still walking and just has to get, you know, those are very low priority calls. So we have they're all different, they're tiered differently, prioritized differently, but for the most part, they all get sent out immediately.
Okay. All right. Now, you talked about how you rotate dispatchers and the importance of dispatching, call taking, and rotating them to make sure, you know, after 6 hours, they're getting a little bit of a break on one side of call taking versus dispatching. So what, in terms of staying calm, right? Taking a lot of emergency calls, and everyone is, you know, that's calling is a lot of people are having emergencies, right? So how do they remain calm while they're also helping someone in a crisis of their own?
Yes, so we kind of train them to, you kind of have to meet the caller where they're at.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're having a tough day already. They're calling 911 for a reason. So you kind of can't go into that phone call on high when you don't know what that person's calling for. They could have just had a tragic event with their parent. So you kind of got to meet them where they're at, stay calm, but you have to remember you're the professional. You are the calming voice. Most of the time, callers will mimic how you are. So if you're excited over, they're going to be excited. So we try and make sure all our dispatchers keep their composure, fall back to their training, focus on protocols, focus on the interrogation process. And we try and give them, through party dispatch training, techniques to try and keep the caller calm. They go through ways to bring their temperature down. But it's hard, as a dispatcher, you got to keep yours down too. A lot of dispatchers, you know, we are human, we get emotional too, but we have to learn, keep our composure, fall back to your training, use the protocols, use the standard procedures that we have in place. And once you fall back in that, you can kind of take control of that call.
Okay. Now, I'm aware that the PFD is hiring dispatchers through April 12th. What should people know about applying? And then kind of speaking of the qualities maybe that you train people to acquire, how to remain calm in these types of situations. What can people come into this job? Like, what kind of qualities are you looking for in a dispatcher?
For a dispatcher, we need, you know, you have to have, again, composure. You have to be able to stay calm when everything else is chaotic. Two, you have to have clear communication. You have to be able to speak and hear what's happening at the same time, thinking and making moves. You have to be able to multitask. Like I said, thinking, doing, telling, everything all at the same time. So those are the main things, and accountability. I would say that would be the main thing, because we are dealing with real emergencies, and we're helping responders, we're helping people, and you have to be able to. We have to be able to count on you to do your job. We have to be able to count on you to show up for work. It's an important job that we're doing, and it's helping a lot of people, whether it's responders with support or it's people out calling. So you have to have composure, you have to have communication skills, and you have to be able to multitask, and you have to be accountable.
Okay, well, everyone, you hear that? If you have those qualities and more, the PFD is hiring dispatchers now through April 12th. If you're interested in joining the fire department as a dispatcher or in any other capacity, visit phila.gov/fire. We want to thank you again, Angel, for joining us. Yes. All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we return, we're talking about how to keep your home free from fire. Stay with us.
Can you help me?
What you got there?
Will you help my mom?
Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
Illicit fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat that our nation has ever experienced. We lost Leo when he was only 19, killed by fentanyl he didn't even know he was taking. He was my heart, my son.
My grandson. I wish you could have met him. Such a beautiful young man. Kind, smart, funny, sweet, a great kid.
Go to ladrfoundation.org to join us in the fight against fentanyl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, no, no. Turn it down. Turn it off. Get a hand. Lose the bells and whistles. Drive without distractions.
Dear University of...
Thank you for your offer
to become student ID number 283471.
While I appreciate your desire
for my impeccable academic record,
I must decline the opportunity
to get a generic degree.
I've decided to tell my story.
To be a student,
not a statistic.
I wish you good luck in the future
as I embark on mine.
Welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm firefighter Camila Bayete-Taylor with the Philadelphia Fire Department's Fire Prevention and Code Division. 2026 has already been an extremely busy one for our department and also a very difficult time for many neighborhoods and families due to fatal and destructive fires. In our city and across the United States, some of the most common causes of fires are cooking, electrical wiring and appliances, and home heating. With that in mind, we want to share ways you and your loved ones can help reduce the risk of a fire and what to do if one occurs. Joining me now is one of my colleagues from the Fire Prevention and Code Division, firefighter Leo Masonette. Welcome, Leo.
Oh, hello again.
All right. Thanks for being here again. Thanks for coming back. Now let's get into home fire safety. All right. Thankfully, it's warming up now, but we've had a lot of days with freezing temperatures, right? So that means more people were relying on heating, space heaters, electric blankets, and other methods to stay warm and heat their homes. What safety tips can you share for staying warm at home?
Okay, so for those who have their space heaters, what you should do is plug it right into the wall, have 3 feet of space on each side of that space heater. If let's say their cord is less than 3 feet or it doesn't reach 3 feet, they can use an extension cord or a power strip. Sometimes it won't take that power, but sometimes it will. I had a presentation actually this morning I told you about that somebody plugged their space heater with a power strip, and I told them, well, you can use it, but before you go to sleep, make sure you turn off or unplug rather that power strip and either get an extra blanket or a sheet. So that way, you'll be safe and there's no either danger of fire inside the walls or on the, well, let's say on themselves. So, so that's one way to do it. Also, with electric blankets, I tell people, and there are quite a few seniors that also use electric blankets, all ages, but mostly seniors. And I tell them, well, if you're using an electric blanket, again, turn it off before you go to sleep. Unplug it if you have to. Don't use it as a sole source of that all night 8 hours sleep because again, it might burn yourself or burn something around you.
Yeah.
So with that electric blanket, before you go to sleep, turn it off, get an extra blanket or a quilt to cover yourself, stay warm.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good advice because you can't, when you're sleeping, you can't really determine. When you're awake, you can determine if something's too hot for your skin, right? But when you're sleeping, something's too hot, you can't really tell maybe until it's too late. So that's great advice. Now let's talk about smoke alarms, right? Last year, our fire marshal's office investigated more than 1,000 fires. Only about half of those fires had working smoke alarms. And so we in the PFD are out in Philly neighborhoods every week installing smoke alarms. What is the importance of having smoke alarms?
Okay, so smoke alarms are basically something that, alarms you that there's a problem. I encountered a few houses, I'm not sure with you, but somebody else, and they're asking us, why is it so important to get these things? They're like, I could open the door, or I could hear something if something's crackling, and we tell them those smoke alarms, they have certain measurements that can measure the ions of the smoke, not just, the smoke itself. And it might alarm you before it actually happens. And also to keep the doors at night, close at night before going to sleep, because again, that smoke could build up and it might be too late. So I got to an argument with one lady. She's like, oh, it's not going to save my house. Well, yeah, it's not going to save your house, but it's going to save you.
Right.
And along with that, you're going to need a home escape plan. And I tell them what to do in case, we'll talk about it later, but what to do in case of a fire.
Right. And, one of the things, you talked about the closed doors, you talked about the smoke alarms. The great thing about smoke alarms is they give you an early warning of a fire, right? And so you have that early warning, you can get a call out to 911, the fire department can get there and save a good portion of your home, even if you may have some smoke damage, some fire damage, as opposed to not having a smoke alarm, and losing your entire home. Or in the case of having doors closed, that's going to save the fire from spreading, keep the fire from spreading, because fire likes air, right? Well, I'm sure we'll get to all that, right, with the home escape plans. Okay, but I do want to remind everyone, anyone who needs smoke alarms in Philadelphia, you can request smoke alarms for free by calling 311. After you submit the request, members of the Philadelphia Fire Department will come install smoke alarms free of charge. All right, now, smoke alarms, again, they give us an early warning of a fire, and one of the most common places for fires to start, as we know, is in the kitchen, right? Okay, so as one of the leading fire causes in the U.S., let's talk about cooking safety and what you can do to reduce your risk.
Okay, so with cooking safety, let's pretend this here's the stove and you're right there. And what you want to do is you want to have that handle, rather, of that pot or pan to the rear or to the side of that stove. That way, if you have any pets or small children visiting, or let's say you have children, of your own, and they might not, there'll be less risk to not go with that pot or pan if it's on the side or in rear of the stove. Grease fires. Again, I mentioned this morning about the grease fires. People say, oh, you use sugar, you use flour, you use salt. I said, wait, hold on. No, all that stuff might increase the flames. Water would definitely increase the flames.
Right.
But the best thing to do, get an oven mitt on the side, on the countertop. If the flames do shoot up, put down that glove, turn off the source. Make sure there's a lid nearby if it's not on already. Cover that pot or pan. Do not carry it, put it in the sink. No, leave it as is. Leave it cool down.
And that's great because, I mean, all those things, all those extra things, looking for flour, sugar, those things take time. You cook, you have a lid nearby, just turn down the burner, slide the lid over. It's a lot easier. Excellent, excellent. So a big part of what we do in fire prevention is visit schools. We also visit rec centers in the summer, all over the city to talk to children about fire safety. If we learn about fire safety when we're young, we're definitely a lot more likely to carry that into adulthood, those messages into adulthood. What are some effective ways that you would say to teach kids about fire safety?
Okay, so what we do is you and I, we teach kids K through 8, kindergarten through 8th grade. Let's say K to 3, we have certain videos. We show age-appropriate videos, just something more basic for the K through 3 kids. I'm sorry, K to 2, kindergarten and 2nd grade. 3 to 5th, we have the videos on YouTube, whatever parents should know. We also, with 3rd all the way through 8th grade, we also go through the 7 steps of survival in case of a fire. With K to 2, we could mention about that, about what to do in case of a fire. They might not grasp it, but with the 3 to 8th, Alvis definitely will be the 7 steps of survival in case of a fire.
Can you talk about those 7 steps?
Yes.
Give us like a brief overview.
All right, so we tell the kids, if you're, let's say, in the middle of the night, a smoke alarm goes off, what are you gonna do? You hear the alarm going off because your hearing is the one sense that stays awake. What's gonna happen? We'll tell them, first thing you wanna do is get up out of bed, turn off the light if you can. You wanna go to that door, feel that door back in your hand, if it's cool to the touch, open the door slightly, look at the ceiling. If you see light, haze of smoke, or no smoke, you want to go downstairs. You want to, actually walk backwards on the steps so you won't fall. Stay low, go out, go to a safe meeting place. If you have your cell phone with you, dial 911. If you do not, knock on a neighbor's door. Have them, ask them rather, to dial 911 and give them your address. That's for a cool door. For a hot door, again, get up out of your bed, turn off the lights, feel that door. If it's hot, go to your bed, grab a sheet, quote, comforter, go to that bottom jamb of that door, cover the bottom jamb of that door, okay? Go to the window, if you can, open the window and yell fire. If you cannot open the window, grab something with you, either a t-shirt, towel, wave at the window. If you have a cell phone with you, if you have one with you, dial 911. The only time you should dial 911 is if that bedroom door is hot. That's the only time you should dial inside the house.
Dial 911 inside the house if
the door is hot.
Yes, yes. All right, very important distinction there. Now, quickly, we taught a lot about preventing fires. And what if you wake up to the sound of smoke alarms? We kind of touched on that with the 7 steps. I want to actually mention this briefly with, you talked about getting out of your house. What if your pet is inside your house, is trapped inside your house? A lot of people go back inside their house, all right? What's the appropriate thing to do in that situation?
The appropriate thing to do, again, after you're outside your safe meeting place, and you have your priority is family members. If you're missing your cat or dog or whatever have you, we tell people and kids, young and old, do not go back inside the house. Let the firefighters know. We, firefighters, will go inside and search your pets.
Excellent, excellent. So to let you know, or to remind you, we save people and we save pets, all right? So let us know, we will go in. That's our job, all right? That's all the time we have today. I want to thank again our guest, Chief Fire Dispatcher Angel Rodriguez and firefighter Leo Masonette. Right. Thanks so much. All right, to learn more about the PFD, including fire and life safety information and job opportunities, visit phila.gov/fire. And if you would like to keep up with our show, Freedom from Fire, look for us on Verizon Channel 36, Comcast Channel 56, and LaSalle TV's YouTube page. And remember, you can follow the PFD on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. Also, please check out Fireman's Hall Museum, located at 147 North 2nd Street. You'll get to meet our resident historian, firefighter Brian Anderson, and learn about the history of the Philadelphia Fire Department. Thank you for taking the time to join us on Freedom from Fire. Remember, fire is everyone's fight. Stay safe and remain free from fire.